Good afternoon, Flosstube. Welcome to another episode. This is number 8. It is Tuesday, July 21st, and it's around 5 p.m. in the afternoon here in the Netherlands. Welcome to my channel, Annemiek from the Handwerk Boetiek. My name is Annemiek, and this is the Handwerk Boetiek. For those of you who are new, because I noticed there were quite a few new subscribers, thank you very much for subscribing to my channel. I'm the owner of the shop, the Handwerk Boetiek in Roden, in the northern part of the Netherlands. We've been in business for almost 18 years now. Our anniversary is coming up in November. And we carry a full line of cross-stitch supplies from threads, fabrics to charts from literally all over the world. Welcome. And a special welcome to all of you who commented on my last video. It's always a lot of fun to read the comments. I do know there was a question about one of the fabrics that I mentioned, the Newcastle 3077, my new favorite sampler color. I don't recall your name, but somebody asked the name of the color, and I think it's called Café au lait or Café Latte in the US. It's quite funny because Zweigert doesn't give names to their colors, they just give numbers. And apparently in the US, someone, and I don't know exactly who, maybe Zweigert US, gives them names as well. I must admit that I prefer color numbers because, if you order Newcastle 52, it's very clear to me what you're looking for. Whereas to describe the color, it's called flax in the US. But to describe the color, it could be anything from sand to beige to like a light natural, and it's getting a little harder to figure out what kind of fabric color you're looking for. So if you look on my website, I have listed both the numbers and the names wherever I knew the name. This new color, I don't think I've added the name yet because I wasn't aware it had a name, but I will do so shortly. Anyways, that was about my favorite new sampler color. If you look over here, this icy red chart from the Scarlet House was stitched on it, and it really is a very, very pretty color. So that was about fabric colors. What's on today's episode? I have 5 fully finished objects. That must be a record for me. It's thanks to a friend, thanks to my mom, and thanks to me. I'm not much of a finisher, so the 2 finishes that I did myself were kind of easy. But I think it's fun to show how you can use all kinds of different products basically to use for finishing. And it does give a really nice result, even if I say so myself. So that's on for today. I have 2 WIPs that I'm going to show you because I've sort of changed my stitching plans a bit. I made a dent into my WIP pile, which I'll talk about. And I have a very, very exciting new start that I'm so thrilled about. I'll show you later on. I've been waiting for this chart to come onto the market, and it got delivered here Saturday, and I really couldn't wait to start. It was not on my plans to start anything new, but well, sometimes a girl just got to do what a girl's got to do. Anyway, let's start with the finishes for this episode. There are a couple that were done quite a while ago, some projects that I started years ago, and now they're done. So the first one up is, let me take this. This is one of the Seaside series by JBW Designs, and I finished it myself in this cute little chair, a wooden chair from one of our action shops. I actually bought this I don't know, a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. So if you live in the Netherlands and you go looking for this, I'm afraid you might not find it anymore. But it's more of a way to inspire you to look beyond the obvious to finish your stitching projects. I thought this little seahorse was the perfect finish for this chair. I'm working with my friend Kobe to finish some of other stitch projects of this Seaside series. And I'll show you later when that's done, but it'll complement the chair. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that was finish number 1. We'll put this aside. Then finish number 2 is the summer ABC from Little House Needleworks, which was lovingly finished by my mom. We just added little wooden dowels at the top and the bottom, so it can hang in the shop now. It's a really cute design. I started it in the summer of 2018. It got neglected for a while, and then I don't know, in June I decided to pick this up again and see if I could finish it because, well, summer was coming and it was time to have this ready for the shop. So that one is done now as well. Oh, maybe good to know, I didn't tell you. This is, I'm sort of wrecking the whole finish. This is stitched on linen bending. It's by a German company called FFO and Heilenberg, and we have several colors of this banding in our shop. It's really pretty to work on. It's a 28 count banding, and of course the advantage is that the sides are already finished for you, so finishing is kind of easy. The only thing you have to take into account is that you do need quite a bit of extra linen for the finishing, because it's just prettier if you have a little bit of extra bending here on the back instead of just a tiny little bit to finish it. So that's the only thing you have to take into account, but this was a lot of fun to stitch. So that's that one. Let me put it aside. And then I have this little finish. This is Sprightly Snowman by Artful Offerings. I stitched it on a green Murano even weave with, I think, pretty much the called for threads. And I did use DMC E12 for the red, though I'm not really sure if you can see the twinkle. I don't know. I don't really think you can see it. Anyway, it's in there. It's a little crooked. It's because I ironed on interfacing on the back. And I think what I should have done is stretch the stitched linen piece first on the towel so that it couldn't move anymore, and then attach the interfacing. But, well, that's lesson learned and something I can do next time. I really love this chart. I've been in love with it since I saw it the first time, and I stitched this earlier in the year. So that's finish number 3. Then I have this finish. This is by Heart and Hand Needle Art. It's, Merry Holiday. I'm sorry, I don't remember correctly. It's finished in a little hoop by my friend Kobe, who was also kind enough to paint it for me. She added the 3 little pom-poms at the top, kind of like snowballs, and it's really, really cute now. I stitched this last year, I think, and now it's fully finished. So when we start decorating the shop for Christmas in October, November, we have some new things coming up. And then the final one is this one. This is Ready, Set, Snow by Hands-On Designs. It came out last year, I think, and I stitched it last year as well. It is a truly lovely chart to stitch. And we discovered that I forgot to attach his nose. He's supposed to have a carrot nose here. So I'll need to figure out how I'm going to do that. I might add a button and see if I can use like a curved needle to put it in place, or if I leave it like this. I don't know. I'll just see. It's going to take a little bit of wiggling to get to do that without disturbing the beautiful finishing by Kobe. But that's the other finish for today. So 5 finishes. Like I said, I'm really proud. I don't think it'll ever happen again. Now, as for my stitching, if you watched the last episode, you know I talked about finishing the summer salt box by Plum Street Samplers. And what happened was I wasn't really enjoying stitching with the 4 strands. And instead of stitching being, you know, something rewarding and comforting in the evening, it became another chore that I had to do, and I lost basically my fun in stitching. So I didn't stitch for, I think, like 2 weeks, or not much anyway. The chart, since I changed the colors, which is of course something that happens when you change colors, or it can happen, I wasn't very happy with the colors. I need to look for another color for part of the house. I changed the colors for the flowers. Yeah, it was just, it was getting on my nerves, and it was basically ruining my fun of stitching. So I decided to put it aside for now. It might be that it's going to be till next summer before it's finished. I don't know. I just knew that I needed to work on something else in order to regain my love of stitching. So that's when I picked up Summer ABC by Little House Needleworks, and I got stitching on that. Have to admit, I had a frog quite a bit on that one too. It was like I was just not in the right headspace, I think. I did manage to get that one done, and after that one, I started working on Sheep Heap. Now, Sheep Heap by Plum Street Samplers is another one that I started in the summer of 2018. Put it back. Don't know why I never got back to it, but here's the finished piece. I so love this series of 3 animals by Plum Street. I have stitched the pigs, and I have stitched the reindeer. Now the sheep are done. And since I do have another WIP by Plum Street Samplers, I don't think I can start a new one anytime soon, but I'll see. Like I said, it's on my radar. I don't know, I really like the foxes, and I might start that one next. This one, to give you all the info, is stitched on 36 count Edinburgh Vintage Country Mocha. It's like the modeled fabric from Zweiger that sort of looks like a hand dyed but isn't. And I think I used most of the called for threads. I did change out the light pinks because I didn't have the ones that the chart called for. But it's pretty much, it gives you the same impression. What I did do wrong was that this sheep here was supposed to be stitched, his body was supposed to be stitched in parchment, I think, and the stars were supposed to be whitewash. I just reversed it, and then I did it the right way on this sheep. So that's why my sheep here at the bottom looks a little lighter than the chart. But really, these charts are so much fun to stitch. So that's that. And let me hold on for a second. Then it's time to move on to my next finish, which is a piece I haven't checked yet. I think I started this really years ago. It could be 5 or 6 years maybe. I started working on it last year again. I think around towards the end of the year, and then put it back in storage again, and now it is done. So let me show you. Let me back up a little so you can see it in one shot. This is Petit Carré Hiver by Marjorie Massey, or Little Winter Squares. And this was a lot of fun to stitch. It's a lot of work because you stitch the background much like in Assisi, but it's kind of hard to count right. It's easier to stitch the motifs than it is to stitch the background and leave the motifs out. But I really enjoyed how she changed the border on all 3 of them, so they all look a little different. I really enjoy this one. So I'm very happy that it's done. It was stitched on 36 count Edinburgh natural, and I used Soie d'Alger silk 945. So it was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed finishing this up, and to be honest, I was quite proud that I had 4 long time WIPs that are now done. I can cross them off and feel good about myself. Speaking of WIPs, last weekend I went over my pile of WIPs, and did a sort of stitch or ditch decision on them because there are some WIPs that I feel I would finish not because I would enjoy stitching it that much, but more because I felt like I had to. And to be honest, I feel that I don't have a lot of stitching time. I'm pretty busy during the week, and when I do stitch, I want to stitch on something that I truly enjoy. So I've decided to ditch a few of my WIPs. I'm gonna share them with you here, sort of like publicly accounting for it. I'll do an overview of the ones I have left later on in the summer, but it felt really good to make the decision to just let go of a couple of them. One of them is this one. It's one of the earlier Snapperville charts by Bent Creek. So I got to about the halfway point, I think. I liked it when it came out. I enjoyed stitching it, and then I lost my motivation, and now I don't really see the point of going back to it, so that one's going away. The other one that's going away, that's a little bit harder for me, but I'm still gonna do it, is the Dutch Alphabet Sampler by Barrick. Also, I'm on the halfway point. I already worked on this during the year, but to be honest, it was a chore. It was really because I felt like I had to finish this WIP. And Kathy has released so many charts that I would prefer to stitch now, that I'm like, I'm not gonna continue with this one. So that's another one for the books. I can just write it off and decrease my number of WIPs. The other one I'm gonna lose is the Sampler Houses by Little House Needleworks. This is DEF. I didn't get very far. I did finish ABC, which I still like very much. But to be honest, this one has some memories attached to it that I'm not, I don't know. I think that's partly why I'm not really looking forward to finishing it. I stitched this during the last summer that my dad and my uncle were alive, and that they came over to the place where I was having my vacation time in the summer to celebrate my birthday. And in my mind, that's just attached to the piece. So I'm like, well, I think it's time to just lay that to rest and just move on with other pieces that I really enjoy stitching. So I think the moral of this story is that it's okay to let go of WIPs or UFOs if you are not enjoying them anymore. I mean, there's nothing wrong with working on a piece, multiple years in a row if you still, enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, you might give it some consideration. I think our stitching time is really, it's personal, it's for our own health, it's for our enjoyment, and when it feels like it's more of a chore or more of basically work that you need to get done, it's hard. At least for me, it's very hard. I've never been very good stitching for a deadline, whether that was for a shop model or a workshop. Somehow, if there's a deadline attached to it, I'm just, I lose my motivation. I make more mistakes. I have to frog more, which results in me having even less motivation. So I prefer not to stitch under a deadline. I think there are enough deadlines already in life, and stitching for me shouldn't have one. That's for sure. Anyways, since I finished 3 long-standing WIPs, I thought I could start something new. Well, let's back up. I had great plans for Stitch Mania, and my plans were to work 2 days on a WIP and then start 3 projects a week, and also work on them from 2 days. However, that didn't work out. That got me really nervous about the amount of WIPs I didn't enjoy having, being able only to stitch for 2 days. If I really enjoyed working on something, I wanted to continue. So what I did after me losing my motivation to stitch in June was that I would pick a WIP, work on it during the weekend, and then work on something else work on the WIP during the week, and then work on something else during the weekend. Okay, let's continue. So, working on a WIP during the week, and then work on something either new or a different project in the weekend. So for the coming time, I've selected Little Bits of Halloween by the Drawn Thread as my week project. Let me see. There we go. I'm stitching it this way, the long way. I'll show you my progress in a second. This is an incredible chart. It has all the different motifs. As you can see, you can stitch them in a number of ways. Okay, let's see. This one will give you a better idea of what it looked like. And there are some specialty stitches included. It's all done with the Drawn Threads eye for detail. So the drawings on how to do these specialty stitches are excellent, and it's very easy to do. So let me show you how far along I am. So this is where I am at the moment. Can you see? Let me put the chart behind it. That's a little better. So I'm making nice progress. It's stitched on 32 count beautiful beige by Untitled, or Permin over here in Europe. And I'm using all the called for threads, which is a combination of needlepoint ink as well as dinky dyes. This was really the first time I started using dinky dyes for, like a full project. And I must say, I really enjoy how smooth the threads are. They just glide through your fabric. They lay very nicely, and they give very good coverage on the 32 count, which is what I really, really like. This is going to be framed because we have a lot of smaller space up here for framed pieces. So I think this one will do very nicely come Halloween. So I'm hoping to be able to, work on this for, I think, like this week and maybe next week. I don't think I can get it done this week. It just takes a little longer to do, which is fine. I mean, like I said, it's a lovely chart to stitch on, and after stitching on 40 count and 36 count, stitching on 32 count is really relaxing. So then I'm on to a new chart. It's a new chart by Historische Stickmuster. I have been eyeing this ever since the ladies released photos of, sort of sneak peeks of the chart. I didn't know when it would come out, and last Saturday we got the box in the shop with this amazing chart. I absolutely love it. And what made me sort of convinced that I could stitch this is that it only uses, I think, like 12 to 14 colors. So that's not a whole lot. And I'm really, really fond of houses. I've been eyeing the Hawk-Run Hollow houses, but they are bigger than this one and much more colors are involved, and I don't think I would ever be able to finish it. So probably for the coming year, maybe years, this is going to be my weekend project. I did start it this weekend. I'll show you my progress. Let me just put something behind it so it's a little easier to see. This is my progress. I started in the right lower corner, and I'm working my way on the first house. Now what I did with the border, and I don't know whoever came up with this brilliant idea, but I'm stitching like doing half stitches for 9 crosses, and then I do a full crisscross for the 10th cross stitch, which makes it very easy to count. So I can use my border to see if these lines match up. There we go. So this is Sunday evening stitching. So it wasn't like I had a whole lot of time, but I did manage to get something done because I couldn't wait. It's even to the point where the silks, this is the sad collection of the silks. I need to put them on labels and put them on a ring and everything, but I just wanted to start. So I just threw them in a bag, and these are the colors. The chart is stitched with Swaddle silk, the one here behind me. Like I said, I think it's 12 colors. You will need multiple skeins of several of the colors. I will put the chart in the shop along with a silk pack, and if you want to have fabric included, we can do that as well. You can have your choice of fabric, 32, 36, 40 count, whichever is the most, pleasant for you to stitch on. I'm stitching it on 36 count Edinburgh 101, so antique white. I debated about doing it on 40 count or 36 count, but since this is a larger project, I wanted something that was a little easy on the eyes for me, so the 36 is like perfect. And the coverage of the Swaddle is really, really nice on 36 count. So that's going to be my project for the weekends. Anything else that I need to talk about? We're still having slow deliveries of packages from the US. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. We just have to be a little bit more patient than normally, I guess. We did get in new designs. I'm working on an update of the website, and yeah, I think that's about it for now. My stitching plans for the next couple weeks are kind of simple. I'm going to work on my American houses, and I'm going to work on little bits of Halloween. After little bits of Halloween is done, I'm sort of hoping that we'll be getting our order in from Hoffman along with the Prairie Schooler Santa 2020. It's kind of a tradition for me now. I stitched the last 4, I think, during the summer. So I want to stitch this one too. I think it's hilarious with the north wind and little rabbits hanging on to Santa in order to, keep going. So I think I'll, start that at some point. There are a couple of other projects I would like to finish before, I'll say before September. But to be honest, we're already looking at fall Christmas stitching for the shop, see what kind of models we would like to stitch up. And, well, we all know how fast stitching goes. So now we still have like 2.5 months to get the models ready before we change the whole shop to our Christmas decorations. And it would be good to have them, have a few more. We did really well this year. I'm trying to see if I can do, like, at the end of the year, do a parade of all the new models that we got in the shop, because I think it's kind of nice to see what's new, and also, the models that we stitched. Sometimes you may not have seen it stitched before. But for now, I'm going to concentrate on my little Halloween piece and on my American houses. So I hope that you are enjoying your stitching. That's very clear, I think, for now. I certainly am with the 2 projects that I'm working on now. Stay healthy. Have a good summer. Or, if you're in the southern hemisphere, have a good winter maybe. I just hope it doesn't get too cold for you, and that it doesn't get too warm over here. It's kind of nice right now. It's still a bit sunny outside, and it's not too warm, so that's really good. And I'm going to continue stitching, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.